Stop what you're doing. Watch this video. Think about this for a minute. What if I told you that you did not need to spend thousands of dollars in either an intensive English program or an English language program or a TOEFL preparation program? You did not need to spend all that tuition. Think about that. Think about how much money you would save if you did not need to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on learning English. What if I told you you did not need a TOEFL IBT tutor? You did not need Magoosh. You don't need the TOEFL IBT online course. You don't need Test Stand. What if I told you that I have a course that can help you reach your speaking goals, your writing goals? I can help you score over 100, and I will not bust your budget. Think about that for a minute. Would you be interested in that? I am Michael Buckoff, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all the lessons at the online TOEFL course, the 7-step system to pass a TOEFL IBT. And you might say, well, Michael, what is your 7-step system? How do I understand it? I've never heard of it before. Okay, think about it this way. On the left, you have Magoosh, right? Magoosh TOEFL Prep Program. On the right, you have a TOEFL IBT tutor. Right? My course is in the middle. It's in between these two. You don't have to meet with me directly. However, like an IBT tutor, you can complete speaking and writing practice tests. You email them to me, and I will score them the next day and give you feedback. Like Magoosh, I have a lot of TOEFL preparation exercises to help you understand the TOEFL and to give you strategies to help you get a high score. However, unlike Magoosh, you can complete pronunciation, speaking, and writing practice tests. And my course costs almost the same as the Magoosh TOEFL Prep program that you've been hearing about on the internet. They advertise everywhere, right? I advertise nowhere. If you're watching this video, it's a miracle. You probably found it by accident, am I right? But now that you found it, what are you going to do? A, you can spend all of this money on an intensive English program talking to real teachers, learning real English, or you can use my online course and completely replace these intensive English programs and save thousands of dollars and get exactly the same results. You don't need Magoosh. You don't need Magoosh. You do not need the TOEFL IBT tutor. You don't need an intensive English program. You can simply take my online course and you can get the results you need. You can learn English. You can get your TOEFL score and you can move on with your life. Don't believe it? Watch the rest of this video. In this video, I will interact with several of my students who joined my course over the last month. They will be sending me pronunciation practice, speaking practice. They might have some questions, and I will show you how I interact with them. And currently, all of these students, to get this kind of interaction, they're only paying $45 a month. Think about that. You spend more money fueling your car and gas every month. How much money do you spend on gas? Think about it for me. You probably spend more than $40 a week just doing that. You can get my course. You can get 700 lessons. Vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, listening, reading, writing, and speaking. 700 lessons over 6 months of instruction, about 400 hours of instruction. You can get speaking feedback, pronunciation feedback, just like you see in this video here. You can even get scores on your writing when you submit them. That is the online TOEFL course, the 7-step system to pass a TOEFL IBT. All right, here's the first student I'm going to interact with right now. His name is Khalid. He has taken the TOEFL several times, but he scored 24, and you're not going to believe it because, in my opinion, his speaking is perfect. He has a few problems, but there's no reason why he should not be able to get 4 on the speaking or 26 or higher. But he has not, believe it or not. Okay, here we go. Yeah, hi there, Khaled. This is Michael, and I'm going to listen to your independent speaking practice test.
Personally, I believe that ban smoking is good for the environment and for the smokers. First of all, ban smoking protects the environment from obnoxious gases such as carbon dioxide, and sulfur monoxide. In addition to that, I believe ban smoking is good for the smokers and chain smokers because it enforces them to reduce their smoking. For example, a couple of years ago, when the office that I've been working with adapted such policy, I was enforced to reduce my smoking and eventually to quit it. That's why I believe that ban smoking is a really good idea.
Okay, let's listen to this one more time. Ban smoking or banning smoking? I think banning smoking is better than ban smoking. Now, why am I saying that? We should ban smoking, or banning smoking is good. So using the gerund, I think the ing form of it, not the ed form there, I think the gerund's going to be better. Banning smoking is effective. So unfortunately, you made that language use error several times.
Personally, I believe that ban smoking is good for the...
I would say, almost saying like you're saying bad smoking, but it's, I believe that banning smoking would be good for our environment.
And for the smokers. First of all, ban smoking protects the environment from obnoxious gases such as carbon dioxide, and sulfur monoxide.
Obnoxious gases, very good vocabulary right there, and you gave specific examples of different types of chemicals that can be emitted into the atmosphere, so very strong with your topic development.
In addition to that, I believe ban smoking is good for the smokers and chain smokers because it enforces them to reduce their...
It enforces or forces them?
And chain smokers because it enforces them.
I would say it forces them. You can say, I want to enforce a law, but I wouldn't say it enforces them to. I would just use the word force there, not enforce. You can go into the dictionary maybe online. Check out the difference between force and enforce.
To reduce their smoking. For example, a couple of...
I think enforce is when you make a law, and I say the United States government should enforce the new law which bans smoking. In other words, smokers or smoking should be banned, or smokers should be forced to stop smoking in public areas. So when you're talking about a law and upholding that law, you'll say enforce. But when you're talking about coercing someone to do something, I'll say I'm forcing them to do something.
Years ago, when the office that I've been working with adapted such policy, I was enforced to reduce my smoking.
I was forced to reduce my smoking.
And eventually to quit it. That's why I believe that ban smoking is a really good idea.
Okay, so what do we do here? I mean, we got two really big problems here. You have problems with the word force versus enforce. You had a grammatical problem with ban smoking versus banning smoking. I think ban smoking is better and force is better than enforce in the sense of how you're trying to use it. So you had language use issues with grammar, vocabulary. I think that was a pretty big issue. Everything else was pretty good. You had strong delivery. I liked the specific examples you used to help illustrate your points. That was very good strategy. So I think it might be tough because of the frequency of those language use errors. I'm going to put you at about 24 points out of 30, 3.1 out of 4 on this practice test. All right, so the next student here, I'll just use his initials S. He's been a member of my online course now for about 2 or 3 months, and the first time he did a practice test, honestly, I couldn't understand anything. So don't judge what you hear right now. He's actually a lot better than what he was. Hold on a second. Getting a call here. Hello? Okay. Bye-bye. All right, let's keep going. That was my wife. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's listen to this guy. So he has so much trouble with his speaking. I'm actually having him type out what he's saying so I can understand it. But also it helps him practice his writing, which is good, and it also helps me to identify specific language use issues that he's having with both his speaking and writing. So there's a lot of value in having him do what he's doing. Okay, here we go. Yeah, hi there, Shrikant, and this is Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-step system to pass a TOEFL IBT, and I'm going to listen to your practice test right now.
The speaker discusses solving a problem for writing the research paper on academic sources topic. The speaker discusses solving.
The speakers discuss, not speakers discusses. So make sure you have a plural subject there. You want a plural verb.
A problem for writing the research paper on academic sources.
Okay, hold on a quick second here. I got to unlock the door. My 8-year-old kid's coming home in about 2 minutes. I want to make sure he can get in. He'll start ringing the doorbell about 50 times. Give me a quick second. Okay, it's already open. Okay, hold on. I'm coming back. Keep working hard, buddy. You're making a lot of progress. I'm very happy with how you've been progressing with your English. And never give up, and don't let anyone tell you what you cannot do. You determine what you can or cannot do. Okay, here we go.
Topic, which is recommendation. First, the speakers ask about a research paper progress. Then he recommended to go near a reference librarian.
Now wait a minute, if you say asks, it's recommends, not recommended. So and I have no problem, if you want to use present tense to summarize the information, that's fine, but be consistent. So in this case, you don't want to mix and match your verb tenses. That's a bad idea for the TOEFL. It's going to result in a lower score.
For writing a research paper question and outline on it. Also, the speaker said the reference librarian is an expert.
You want to say the speaker says that the reference librarian is an expert in helping the students.
Helping the students for finding the scholarly article, academic paper by utilizing the library for writing the topic. And once his problem was solved for writing the term projects when he went near reference librarian.
Now you say that there's two things, the term projects, the T and the P, you need to pronounce those with more air, and it makes it easier for me to understand what you're saying.
The second speaker says that she is writing the topic, but she don't know how to write.
But she doesn't know, so subject-verb agreement, be careful.
And find the academic topic, source of it. Also, she doesn't know what to ask when going to reference library. Personally, I agree with this section in that conversation for writing the topic on scholarly article research academic paper by going to the reference library and utilizing a library as a source of it.
Okay, so let's take a look at the rubrics here. Give me a quick second here. I'm going to go to integrated speaking here. I think overall you have a fairly accurate response, but I think you included most of the important information. I'm not going to say you got everything, but you got most of it. I think delivery is a pretty big issue. You're still having some problems with intonation, maybe thought groups and blending, so you can review the lessons in those areas. Hold on a minute. That's my boy ringing the doorbell. The door's open. Okay.
Before I go to Glottal?
Yeah, heat up the stove. I'm on the internet right now, okay?
Heat up a stove.
Okay, give me a minute. I'm talking to somebody. Give me a second. Okay, so I think here, Shrikant, so the delivery you got to keep working on. You also have some language use issues, and particularly This one, a lot of language issues focusing around verbs. So my main thing is when you're summarizing the integrated speaking task, you can certainly use present tense verbs, but you don't want to go back and forth between present and past tense. That's not going to help you with your score. Also, subject-verb agreement. So if the subject is singular, then the verb singular. If the subject is plural, then your verb is plural. So your score here, I'm going to put you at about 1.83 out of 4, 14 points out of 30 on this particular practice test, mainly due to delivery and language use issues. Now this next student, Saruthi, is practicing pronunciation, and those students, I figured this out. It took me a couple years to figure this out, but a lot of students who are stuck at say 23 or 24 points on speaking, once they speak more clearly, their TOEFL score goes over to 27 points. So that's kind of her case. She's around 23 or so she's been following my advice and focusing a lot on pronunciation, and probably in a month or two, I got a good feeling that she will be able to get 26 points or higher on the speaking. So one of the problems that she's focusing on is the TH sound. She's learning how to pronounce the interdental consonant, the TH sound, more clearly. All right, here we go. So let me talk to her. Yeah, hi there, Saruthi, and this is Michael, and I'm going to listen to your pronunciation practice that you sent me by email.
Contrasting the consonants theta and eth.
It's theta and eth. Theta, eth.
One, tie, thy.
You're not getting that one. You're saying tie, but it's thigh, thy.
Two, breath, breathe.
Okay, you're better when the TH is at the end of the word, you pronounce it, I think, better than when it's in the beginning of the word.
Breath, breathe. Three, teeth, teeth. Four,
Okay?
bath, bathe.
And it's bathe.
5, through, door.
Okay?
6, thin, than.
Yeah. Thin, then.
7, cloth, cloth.
Okay, you did better as you got into the exercise. Let's keep going.
8, 3, does. 9, worth, worthy.
Okay, let's do these one more time. Number one, this is one you had the most trouble with. Thigh, thy. 2, breath, breathe. Number 3, teeth, teeth. Again, remember I told you about these the other day. When that voiceless consonant's at the end of the word, you want to pronounce the vowel longer. So bath, bathe. Through, though. Thin, then. Cloth, clothe. 3, thus. Worth, worthy.
Ten, wrath, rather.
Okay.
Listening discrimination. 1,
Okay, let's see how you do on these. So you're pronouncing pairs of words either with the same or a different sound.
ether, either.
Ether, either.
2, moth, mother. 3,
Mother, mother.
correct, them. 4,
All right?
Anthony, anthrax.
Good, it's the
5,
same sound.
therefore, thereafter.
Perfect.
6, thyroid, thyself.
Okay.
7,
Thyroid, thyself.
team, dance.
Okay.
8, theory, thereby.
Good. Now, the TH, the voiceless interdental consonant, the theory, just make sure your tongue's between your teeth completely. Theory, theory.
9, third, thirst.
Okay.
10, orthodox, otherwise.
Okay, so I think overall you're generally getting it. You're doing a pretty good job on it, but be careful when the TH is in the beginning of the word. That's one thing. Make sure you're clearly pronouncing it, whether it's thigh or thy. The next thing is when it's at the end of the word, as I told you a minute ago, if you have the voice consonant at the end of the word, like bathe, or you have bath, which is a voiceless interdental consonant. So the vowel is shorter when you say bath. Then you say bathe. So the vowel which precedes the voice interdental consonant is going to be longer, so that's another thing you want to think about. All right, so thank you for completing that exercise. This next student joined my course a couple of days ago, and he's completed my second integrated speaking practice test. So I'm going to give him some feedback right now. Yeah, hi Regis, this is Michael. I'm going to listen to your integrated speaking practice test. Let's see how you answered this question.
The article says that the internet has had a bad influence to our society.
Now the what says? Let me go back.
The article says that the internet has had
Oh, the article, I got it. The article says.
bad influence to our society, and people now have unlimited access to the websites they visit.
Now here's what I would recommend is in the beginning you want to include an introduction, right? So the introduction frames not just the reading but also the listening passage. So then you could say the reading passage discusses the negative effects of the internet, and the listening passage discusses its positive effects. If you do that, that's just a very short introduction. It explains the main point from both the reading and the listening passage, right? And that's probably a little bit better way to organize your
The
ideas.
speaker has a different view and says that the internet has had
Now, if you say the speaker has a different view, you might put a word like on the other hand or in contrast, because you want to show how the information in the listening is different from the information in the reading.
a positive influence for our civilizations for two reasons. First, most countries' economies are
Okay, what I would recommend is I would try to spend about half of your time explaining the main points from the reading passage, and then you finish by discussing the listening passage.
changing from industrial to information-based. With the internet, you can reach people in areas
With internet, you can reach who is you. No, the listening passage says that entrepreneurs or business people can reach. So in that case, it's better to focus on the third person, I think, point of view, not the second person point of view, especially for integrated speaking, because excuse me, the you point of view, even in independent speaking, is not appropriate. It's just not the right point of view, and it's too informal for what we're trying to do. So be careful about your pronouns.
you wouldn't reach without it. It gives an
Who is he, right? Be more specific. So according to the listening passage, business people would not be able to reach your customers without the potential value of the internet.
example of an e-business of a bicycle company in Japan
I want to say bicycle company.
that expanded and has now consumers all over the world. Second, he says that
I would say that has expanded and now has consumers.
the internet is a powerful education tool. He gives an
Now, how do you do that next idea here? Let me listen to it one more time. I want to look at when you transition from the one benefit of the internet to the last
the
one.
world. Second, he says that the internet is
Say secondly. Okay, first of all, second of all.
a powerful education tool. He gives an example of an elementary school where students go to the internet to learn about their
Okay, what kind of schools? You're having some intelligibility issues there.
internet is a powerful education tool. He gives an example of an elementary school where students go to the
Elementary school. I got it. Elementary school. So you didn't clearly pronounce all the words in that, all the syllables in that word.
internet to learn about their subjects, and this increases their knowledge by seeing and doing things from the internet. Therefore, the internet benefits
I like your use of the word therefore. That's a very wise transition word to use because it kind of brings your ideas to a logical conclusion.
outweighed its bad influence. It's outweighed its.
It outweighs, not outweights. You want to use the verb there. Weight would be more of a noun. The weight I tried to pick up was too heavy. But outweighs, I think the present tense there is a more appropriate use of the word.
Bad influence.
All right, so what do we know here? I'm looking at the rubrics right now, Regis. I think it's going to be tough. To be honest with you, I don't think you can get in the 3 range on this. You did have some delivery issues. Sometimes when you're pronouncing a word, you're having trouble. For example, the word elementary, so you have some delivery issues. And one thing I'd like you to work on is your intonation. You can go to pronunciation lessons 36 through 40, Regis. I want you to work on varying your tone more than what you're doing. So you can't just put equal emphasis on all words in a sentence, right? You want to focus on the most important ideas, and your tone should show that importance by varying the intonation. You had some minor language use issues. The topic development issue was the beginning. I think you could have a little bit better introduction in the beginning, but other than that, I think that you covered, all the most important points, from the reading and the listening passage. Your score here, I'm going to put you at about 2.5 out of 4, 19 points out of 30 on this practice test. And my next student is doing some independent speaking practice specifically with question number 127. Yeah, hi there, Khalid. This is Michael, and I'm going to listen to your response to my independent speaking practice test number 127. So the question is, nowadays with the advent of Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook, people have more of an opportunity to keep in touch than ever before. In response to this, some people claim that these forms of social media are beneficial, whereas other people claim that these forms of social media have a negative impact. So which position do you agree with and why? All right, here we go, buddy. Good luck.
I do believe that social media have positive impacts on people's life because they are good sources of information and they bring people together.
All right, so you have 2 benefits of social media. Now let me check your language use one more time.
I do believe that social media have positive impacts on people's life because they are good sources of information and they bring people together.
And you said social media have, and then you said they, and wow, most people don't even know this, but media is a plural noun. Medium is a singular noun, so you're actually using correct subject-verb agreement there and pronoun agreement. Good job, buddy.
First of all, social media are the best information tools that we can use to keep up to date with what's going on around us. There are a lot of information and knowledge that we can gain from using such media or such a contemporary way of communication. In addition to that, I believe that social media bring people together. For example,
it brings, don't forget that S, social media brings people together.
On my Facebook account, I have 380 friends that I know them very well, and I should.
No, not that I know them. No, you're thinking in your first language. No, it's that I know very well. When you use the word that, you're using that as an adjective clause connector, and it replaces the pronoun. So just there's people that I know really well, so there's no need to use that pronoun them. And that is your first language use error in this response. So if you're not sure about that, go to the grammar part of my course and study the lesson about adjective clauses so you'll learn how to form them and don't make that mistake in the future.
With them a lot of things. Before the Facebook, I had a couple of friends, but now I have hundreds. That's why I believe that social media,
maybe say which is why I believe,
have positive impacts on our life.
Yes, I like it. So you only had one language use issue on it, so I think overall this was a very good response. I'm looking at the rubrics right now. You had the minor language use issue. I'm putting you at least 26 points or higher. I think it's very possible you could get a score of 4 on this speaking task. A very natural sounding delivery with natural intonation. Good control of your language use, except the one error with them in the adjective clause there. So be careful of that. You had strong topic development. You had a 2-point organization. You gave some examples to support your point of view. It doesn't get much better than that, really. So good job on that. All right, this next student, his name is Regis, and he has completed or just completed a pronunciation pretest. This is pretty complicated. It's hard for me to train somebody to do what I'm going to do right now, but basically I designed a pronunciation pretest. I need to figure out specifically which vowel and consonant sounds are hurting his intelligibility. So he's going to, he clicked on this, it says speak clearly lesson number 1, so he read the instructions and he's making a recording of these pairs of words which target all vowels and all consonant sounds of American English. So let me go ahead and get the recording going here. Yeah, hi there Regis. Hey, you've been busy, buddy. Wow. So you completed a pronunciation pretest, and I'm going to listen to that right now to give you some feedback. So let's see how you're doing. Okay, here we go. We'll begin with lesson number 7.
Hot, bot, wrong, draw, Hannah, over, father, though.
Okay, you got problems with this. This is why you're doing my course, right? So you need to practice the exercises in lesson number 7, and I want you to pay attention to the O. Boat, grow, over, though. You're not making that sound long enough, so that's definitely something you want to look at. Pot, boat, wrong, grow.
Cat, pot, map, mop, tag, tot, an, on, mud, mock, bright, brown, broil, lie, loud, loyal, pie, pound,
Okay?
get, late, late.
Okay, again, it's the longer, that long vowel sound is causing you trouble.
Mate, mate, blade, bleed, den, meat, pet.
So you definitely want to look at lesson number 10. So gate, get, late, let, mate, met. Now you can do some of the practice exercises at the end of those lessons. If you want feedback, you can email it to me. I'm not saying you have to all the time, but if you want to get feedback, email it to me. Here's my rule. I'll keep it simple. Do not send me more than 60 seconds of either pronunciation or speaking practice daily. That's my rule. Don't send more than that. So if you wait a week and don't send me anything, still the rule applies. You cannot send more than 60 seconds. All right? And I will give you feedback on that. So if you work hard, I work hard. If you don't work hard, I don't work hard. So if you really want to practice a lot, send me as many voice recordings as you can, and you'll get more and more feedback, and gradually you will begin to reduce your non-native speaker accent.
Hip, lip, lip, sit, sit, hip, hip.
Okay, it's just not intelligible. It's not that you're not making that vowel long enough. You're not doing that, but you're just not pronouncing it correctly. So you have meet, mit, peat, pit. So when you say both words, I cannot tell which word you're saying. So you definitely need to work on lesson number 11.
Look, like, took, top, cold, cool, match, mash, chip, sheep, feather, fisher,
No, feature, fisher.
shaft, shaft, shear, shear.
Now, very tough. I noticed a couple of things here when you're doing this in lesson 13. The first problem is when that CH sound is in the middle of the word. For example, I don't know if you knew this, but a TU in the middle of a word means a CH sound. So you say feature, feature. And when SU is in the middle of the word, you'll say sh, as in fisher. So that was a problem, but even when you said cheer and shear, it was hard for me to understand both of those words. So you need to really practice on this lesson.
Off, of,
No, the first one's off, of.
have, have,
And make that second word longer. Half, have.
fine, vine, fun, van, wherever, wherever.
Overall, you understand how to pronounce the V sound, so that's good.
How, habit, who, rehash, behavior, hate, Batman, bitten, important, brightening, hat-like, threatened.
Now, I want you, with lesson 15, I want you to practice the glottal stop. That's a sound you're not familiar with. For example, in American English, we say Batman, bitten, important, brightening, hat rack, threatened. You're saying bitten, important, brightening, hat rack, and threatened. So, lesson 15, focus on the glottal stop in that lesson.
Measure, measure, fragile, fraser, legend, legend, engine, leisure, large, Asia.
You got trouble here too, lesson 16. So you have major, measure, fragile, Fraser. So you have trouble with contrasting or comparing those two, their palatal consonant sounds.
Cake, keg, sink, sag, fan, game, head, get, leg, leg.
The only thing I want you to be aware of here is this rule pretty much applies to pretty much all words when you're speaking. If you have a voiceless consonant at the end of the word, for example the K, which means there's no vibration in the vocal folds, the vowel is shorter. The G is a voiceless consonant. When voice consonants, the G is a voice consonant. When it's at the end of the word, the vowel is longer. So you say cake, keg, sink, sag, lake, lag. So this only applies when these voiced or voiceless consonants are at the ends of words.
Ban, oil, better, luggage, ragged, other, right, light, committed.
Okay, I'd like you to look at 18, and pronouncing that R sound is a little bit hard for you. Rear, rugged, right. You almost want to say rear, right. Almost, you're not quite trilling your R, but you want to. So be careful about that sound.
Pace, base, flap, flap, cap, cap.
The same rule applies. Notice how I'm saying these. Flap, flab, cap, cab,
Lap, lap,
lap, lab. Again, when that voice consonant's at the end of the word, the vowel sound which precedes it is longer.
hey, bay, lice, lies, sip, zip,
Good.
zoo, zoo,
Nice.
maze, maze, Elisa, Eliza,
Good.
multiple, Robert,
Again, that Robert. That R sound is hard for you. Robert.
Example, pressure, principle, number, people, philosopher, volcanism, written, maximum, question, summer, reason, chasm, oven,
Let's say chasm.
deep, deep, hot, cut, tight, tight, train, drain, fat, fat,
Again, short, long. Fat, fad.
deep, dream,
Okay, overall, you're pronouncing the T and the D correctly.
tight, thigh,
No, not tie. Thigh. Thy.
breathe, breath,
No, breath, breathe.
teeth, teeth,
Teeth. Teeth.
through, though, worthy, worth, worthy.
Okay, definitely lesson 24 you need to focus on. So the one thing I want you to practice, it's not a specific lesson in my course. I have no idea what's going to come up when I'm listening to my students pretest, but in your case, the one thing I want you to be careful about is that rule I told you. This is something you want to remember with your speaking. If you're not sure what voiced or voiceless consonants are in the first place, just go through my lessons about consonant sounds and I'll educate you on that. But the main thing, when a voiceless consonant's at the end of the word, the vowel sound which precedes it is shorter. In contrast, when a voiced consonant's at the end of a word, then the vowel which precedes it is longer. If you can start doing that more, remembering that rule, and then making that change in your speech, I really think a lot of your intelligibility is going to get a lot better really fast. So what do we learn here? Okay, I took down some notes, as I should. Okay, based on the pretest that you did, here are the lessons I think you should focus on. Lesson number 7, 10, 11, 13, 15, 16, 18, 19, and also lesson number 24. All right? Now, in addition to using my online course, remember, really get as much exposure to the language as you can right now. Watch TV with a focus on history, documentary news, and maybe science programs. That's going to be very helpful. Speak English as much as you can. Remember that my course, the only thing I can do here, and this is what I've done, is I can tell you why people have trouble understanding you. I can tell you specifically which vowel and consonant sounds you're having trouble with. You got to go through my lessons, go through all pronunciation lessons, but focus on the ones I outlined right now, and make sure you're reading out loud as you practice those videos. But then, in addition to my course, keep getting as much exposure to the language as you can, and you will make progress. All right? You will. It's a fact. This next student is doing, I think it's independent speaking practice test number 13, so let's take a look at it here. I have 300 speaking tasks for my students to practice, so I want to make sure they can get every possible kind of question, and they get chances trying to figure out how to answer them. And so this question is, your friend is nervous because you have a job interview. What would you tell him? Okay, so here is the student's recording. Now let me get my recording talking to her. Yeah, hi there. These comments are for Saruthi, and I am Michael, and I'm going to listen to your independent speaking practice test number 13.
If my friend is nervous about a job interview, I would suggest him to take care of himself physically and emotionally, and the following 5 important steps.
Wow, is that an introduction with a specific 5-point organization? Man, wow. Now, I don't know if you can do all that in 45 seconds. That's my worry, because 5 steps, you have to explain each step with details, but it's definitely organized. I like how you are beginning this response.
From the before week of interview, because it helps him to.
I would say in the week before the interview, not on the before week of the interview. I would say on the week before the interview. That's a better way to say that.
Control his anxiety levels by making him feel relaxed. First, I'll tell him to eat a well-balanced diet which limits alcohol, caffeine, and sugary foods. Second,
Good idea. Let me listen to that one more time. Check your language use.
First, I'll tell him to eat a well-balanced diet which limits alcohol, caffeine, and sugary foods.
It doesn't include that, but that's what I'm having trouble understanding what you're saying.
Well-balanced diet which limits alcohol, caffeine, and sugary foods.
It's right there. That's where I'm having trouble. You might want to say, well, which does not include alcohol, sugary foods, and...
Second, to have between 6 to 8 hours of sleep per night. Next,
I would advise that my friend have 6 to 8 hours of sleep per night. Now, one thing you're not doing here, which you could do, you're not using the subjunctive mood. Interesting enough. That is grammar. It's a popular grammar structure that you can use when you're giving someone advice. Go to Google. What is the subjunctive mood in writing and speaking? And the question is, how could you use it here? And why are you avoiding this grammar? The fact that you're avoiding it is going to bring down your score a little bit, because it's an appropriate grammar structure that you could use during this response.
as regularly as this uses up nervous energy and relaxes muscles. Fourth, to prepare answers for every possible question on beforehand. Finally, and most importantly, I'll advise him to practice deep breathing exercise techniques in order
You might have it there. That might be. Let me listen to that.
every possible question on beforehand. Finally, and most importantly, I'll advise him to practice deep breathing.
Now, you still didn't use it. I'll advise him to practice. Now, here's a subjunctive. I would advise that my friend practice.
Exercise techniques in order to improve concentration and confidence.
Okay, now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to, you don't have to do this. You could do whatever you want, but if you want to get better with your English, I want you to do this practice test again. But this time, I want you to find opportunities to use the subjunctive mood in this practice test. See if you can do that. It'll help you learn the grammar, first of all, and it would better respond to this kind of question. So you said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in certain cases, you said infinitive, to do this, to do that, but then other times, you said my friend should do this. So you weren't very parallel in the grammar you were using in each step. So that was some grammar issues in there. I think going to bring your score down a little bit, and some grammar limitations. Okay, now let's take a look. So I think here, overall delivery, I'd like you to work on your intonation a little bit. I think that would be good. You know where to go in the pronunciation section of my course. Go to pronunciation lessons 36 through 40. In addition to that, language use, you had some problems with parallelism or parallel structure. You can go to the grammar part of my course to learn about parallelism. You can also go to the grammar part of my course to learn about noun clauses, which you should have used more in this response. But my grammar course doesn't cover this, but I do want you to look at it by going to Google. What is the subjunctive mood? Now, topic development, very strong, good organization, right? But the problem is you pick 5 things or 5 steps, and it's hard to really develop all 5 of these things. So maybe, because the response is only 45 seconds, maybe you can just explain 2 of these steps that you would think be beneficial in terms of preparing your friend for the job interview, and talk about 2 steps only, and then give a lot more detail to illustrate each step, and that would show a little bit more depth and complexity of thought to your ideas. You see what I'm saying? Your score here, what do we do? What do we do here? I'm going to put you a little bit below 3 on this. I'm going to put you at about 2.83 out of 4, 22 points out of 30 on this response. Yeah, hi there. These comments are for Diana, and I'm listening to one of your integrated speaking practice tests right now. All right, so let's listen to it. Let's see what we have. And good luck.
The man's opinion is that it's important to go to school for two reasons. First, he says that students may become more environmentally aware.
I would say may become more environmentally aware. I would use an adverb there, not an adjective.
Example of that is studying geography. So students may develop respect for the environment and consequently
Students may develop respect for their environment. So you're leaving out some words there, and I would use respect there, not respectful environment, but they will develop respect for their environment.
protect the earth from neglection for future generations. The second reason he explains is attending to school will help for business administrations. An example of that is his friend from Taiwan.
How about will help improve someone's knowledge of business administration? That's probably a more appropriate way to say that.
The MBA program in order to help his parents' business. He has that opinion and say that the need for money will allow people to be more valuable, productive, learn about the world they live in, have money, and help with business.
Okay.
The main
Okay. So the man in the listening passage, so I think you've explained most of the ideas there, but you definitely had some language use issues in there, so that's a problem. I'm not going to really critique too much in topic development. I think you covered most of the important information. Delivery, you're having some problems there too, so you're working on your speaking fluency, which means you're pacing, you're speaking too slowly, so you need to keep working on increasing your speaking speed. And the way to do that is to improve maybe your sentence rhythm and also your thought groups and blending. The thought groups and blending is important because you learn how to group ideas into thought groups and then you have a pause, but each thought group needs to be 4 or 5 stressed syllables. I have a feeling your thought groups right now are shorter than that. So go to pronunciation lessons 41 through 44 to learn more about that, about thought groups and blending. Your score here, I'm going to put you at about 2.6 out of 4, 20 points out of 30 on this particular practice test.